So we've got a little bit of everything in 25.14 as 5 champs are being buffed, 8 are being nerfed, and we've actually got some item changes that could shake up build priority for certain ADCs. Patch is going to be going live this upcoming Wednesday, July 16th, and by the end of this video, you are going to be completely caught up to speed with everything you need to know. And it is no secret that League's ranking system is designed to trap you. It pulls you in with those games where everything clicks and you carry hard, only to balance it all out with those frustrating matches that feel unwinnable from the very start. This cycle just keeps you in the grind, hoping for change, but never quite breaking through. Now, what most players don't realize is that escaping this cycle requires specific skills and specific strategies tailored to your exact rank, and that is where Skill Capped comes in. We are the only service in this entire industry that has invested millions of dollars into identifying what actually works at every tier. Our challenger coaches, they have mapped out the best and the most useful strategies that turn hard-stuck players into consistent climbers, and you can access all of that expertise for less than $9 a month with our annual plan. We're so confident in our method that our business model literally depends on your success. Climb at least 5 divisions while actively using Skill Capped or claim a full refund, no questions asked. So stop wasting all that time on the rank treadmill, man. Start climbing today with proven strategies designed specifically to break through your current rank. Check us out by clicking the link in the top right corner or in the description below. And with all that being said, let's get into it. So we're going to start out by covering all of the item changes for this patch, and receiving a buff is going to be Blade of the Ruined King. The current health on hit damage is going to be increased from 8 to 9% for melee champs and from 5 to 6% for ranged champs. Kraken Slayer is getting buffed with its missing health damage amp on proc, going from 1 scaling to 1.5 to 1 scaling to 1.75. Cost of Kraken is also being lowered from 3,100 to 3,000 gold. Phantom Dancer is going to be receiving 2 buffs that should make the item a lot stronger, as attack speed is up from 60 to 65%, while movement speed is going from 8 to 10%. The mana on Rod of Ages is going to be buffed for 25.14, with flat mana from the item going up from 400 to 500. Mana per rod stack is up from 20 to 30, and the max mana after being fully stacked is up from 600 to 800. Haunting Guise stacking was becoming a strategy that pro players were exploiting recently, so Riot's nerfing that for 25.14, as you're now going to only be able to have 1 Haunting Guise in your inventory instead of a max of 6. The power of Spellbook on supports is being reduced for this patch, with smite damage per swap being lowered from 900 to 600 at second swap and from 1200 to 900 at third swap. So moving on to all the champion buffs now. Azir is going to have his base health increased from 550 to 575. WAP ratio is going up as well from 40 scaling to 60% to 45 scaling to 65%. Darius is going to be receiving a boost to his Q healing, as the missing health heal is being increased from 15 scaling to 45% to 17 scaling to 51%. Fiora's R is going to be buffed so that instead of healing from 40 to 100% based on the amount of vitals triggered, you're now just going to heal for the full 100% regardless of how many vitals you proc. There's a few buffs on the way for Fizz, with his W cooldown being lowered from 7 scaling to 5 seconds to 7 scaling to 3 seconds. EAP ratio is going to see a boost as well, being increased from 90 to 95%. Gonna need to watch out for Ziggs bot in 25.14, as Ziggs is receiving multiple buffs, with his Q base damage going up and QAP ratio is being increased as well at the later ranks. EAP ratio is down slightly early, but buffed later. R base damage is up at rank 2 and 3 in the spell, however the AP ratio is going down from 110 to 100%. After being an OP tier support for literally months, Braum is finally getting a nerf, with his armor dropping from 47 to 42. Lee Sin has made his way back into the meta as one of the best junglers recently, so Riot has a nerf for him in 25.14, with base AD dropping from 69 to 66. Riven is going to have her passive AD ratio reduced from 30 scaling to 60% to 30 scaling to 50%. Sett is going to have his armor growth reduced for 25.14, as it's going from 5.2 to 4.7. One of the best mids from recent patches, being Twisted Fate, is getting nerfed, with his Q damage being reduced by 10 at all ranks. Yasuo is on the nerf list for this patch, as his AD growth is getting hit, going from 3 to 2.5. I think we all can agree that it's always going to be a good patch when Yuumi nerfs are involved, as her R heal per hit is being lowered, with the AP ratio dropping from 15 to 10%. Zoe is going to be losing a bit of base damage on Q in the early game, as it's going from 57 to 52 at rank 1 in the spell, but stays the same at max rank. W base damage takes a pretty big hit, being lowered by 15 at all ranks, while the AP ratio is going up from 40 to 45%. So here we go. Half of this video is most likely just going to be Kled changes, as I really don't think we've ever seen a champion receive this many changes in one singular patch in such a long time. So starting with the passive changes here, when remounting with Kled, health is going to be granted instantly instead of after 0.75 seconds. Kled is now going to gain bonus armor and magic resist equal to 1% of his bonus health, which is going to be increased by 20% per nearby enemy champions within 1400 units. Courage received from minion kills is going up from 4 to 5. Champion takedowns within 3 seconds of damaging an enemy will no longer provide 20 courage. Dismounted AD penalty is being reduced by 20% at all levels to 15, scaling to 0%. Dismounted movement speed penalty is buffed as well, going from 60 to 40. Dismounted bonus movement speed towards champions is being lowered though, from 100 scaling to 185 to 70 scaling to 155. Dismounted bonus movement speed range is up from 1000 to 1200 units. Skarl's base health is going down from 400 scaling to 1550 to 400 scaling to 1400. Remount health is dropping from 45 scaling to 75% of Skarl's max health to 40 scaling to 70% of Skarl's max health. So if you level up while you're dismounted, that bonus movement speed you're going to get will now update. So along with all this, there's about 5 different bug fixes being issued to Kled's passive. So right here, we're going to have them all up on screen if you want to pause and have a read at it. All right, so moving on to Q changes now. Tether bonus AD ratio is dropping from 65 to 60%. Q is no longer going to provide grievous wounds after pulling a target, which is a huge nerf. Slow on Q is dropping from 40 scaling to 60% to 30 scaling to 50%. Slow duration is going up though from 1.5 to 2.5 seconds. There's also a few quality of life and bug fix changes being issued to Q, so we're going to flash those up on screen now so you can have a pause and look if you like. Kled's Q, while dismounted, will also be receiving a few changes, with the recharge timer changed from 20 scaling to 7.25 seconds to 18 scaling to 10 seconds. Bonus AD ratio per pellet is down from 80 to 65%. And then there are 2 quality of life changes being issued as well. Now, for the W changes, cooldown is being increased from 11 scaling to 5 seconds to 13 scaling to 9 seconds. Basic attacks will now reduce the cooldown of W by 1.5 seconds, reduced to 0.5 seconds when hitting minions. W bonus AD ratio is down from 5 to 2%. W is now going to scale off 0.4% bonus health, so attacking wards will now maintain the bonus attack speed instead of consuming the effect. And while dismounted, your 4th attack is no longer going to be invalidated by silences or forced action effects like charms, fleas, or taunts. Kled's E will receive a few changes, with the bonus AD ratio dropping from 65 to 55%. And then we've also got a few quality of life changes to the spell if you want to pause and read this. And finally, we have a bunch of changes to Kled's R, with the damage type being changed from physical to magic. The minimum base damage is up from 4 scaling to 6% of the target's max health to 4 scaling to 8% of the target's max health. Max base damage is going up as well, from 12 scaling to 18% to 12 scaling to 24% of the target's max health. Damage bonus AD ratio is going down from 4 to 3%. And then we have a bunch more quality of life changes and bug fixes being issued to the spell that we're going to have up on screen if you want to read it here. So the TLDR on all of these Kled changes is that he's losing strength with more offensive AD builds, but gaining relative power with health stacking builds. Okay guys, one last thing. Our rank up guarantee is absolutely insane. It's kind of like signing up for the gym and then just getting a refund if you don't get ripped. That's how confident we are in SkillCapped. We obsess over making the best guides with the top players, the rigorous testing, and top tier video editing to make your climb as easy as possible. If you're ready to level up, just visit skillcapped.com and literally see the difference. So there you have it, everyone. A complete look at every one of the changes that's going to be hitting live servers for 25.14 this upcoming Wednesday, July 16th. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.